Welcome back to the 5-Star Potential Podcast Social. We're on to day 5 now of the podcast. Hope you guys are keeping well and safe. And today we're going to have another podcast full of lockdown stories, talking about life. Today we're going to be talking about a different country, I'm sure, as well. But my name is Dave. Alongside me today, you can see, is Dupe. Dupe, how's it going, man?
I'm in a great mood today, David. Literally a top of the world. Oh, Europe. But yeah, we're good, mate.
Good. Joe, how about you, man? How's things?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I know we were recording a bit earlier, but so like the PMA's here. Nothing's brought me down yet.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, most of them. Well, the Proudy one we recorded sort of afternoon. All the others were quite late night. This one's our first morning one, so everyone's fresh.
We should tell everyone why we're doing it, Dave. It's so early. Dave's concerned that Wolves are going to get. Well, Dave knows Wolves are going to get beat today, so Dave doesn't want to record on a downer. So that's why.
Yeah. Leicester today, so tough game. Anyway, we've got Mike as well, SweetLeftFoot from the FO community. Mike, how's things, man?
Very well, thanks, Dave. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, all good, man. All good, thank you. It's great to have you on. I'm not sure if you've seen any of the early ones, but obviously I think you sort of get the gist of what it's going to be about today. But we've had some great podcasts talking about work. Obviously, we've had 2 full-time content creators on. We're talking about family, fast food hacks, all sorts. So we've got loads to talk about, I'm sure. But obviously, with you living in Spain, being in Spain, it's a little bit different for you over there. Normally, we talk about the UK lockdown. What's the situation there right now with obviously the COVID-19?
So the situation here with COVID, we're currently on what they're calling a state of alarm, which is sort of the level just before a lockdown. I think we are going to eventually get into another lockdown, which would be our lockdown 2. It's a little bit more serious than, I say a little bit more serious. It's been imposed in a stricter fashion than I think it has been in the UK. For example, we couldn't really leave the house. I was scared to leave the house during our first lockdown. Right. Like I went out for a drive. I had to go and get something, and it was like half hour there and back. And I must have seen a handful of cars. Like people were generally scared to leave the house because there was such big fines imposed as well if you were caught out doing nothing. For example, I said to my other half that I was just going to throw some shopping in a bag, throw some food in a bag, put it in the car and say that I've been shopping. But the local police and the Guardia Civil will check your receipt, make sure it syncs up with the shopping that you've got. And if not, then you're fined on the spot. So they were really, really imposing the lockdown, and people listened to it. It worked. Like people generally listened. They didn't go out for unnecessary reasons. They stayed in their homes, and initially it was really good for us all.
Do you get much? Do you have much coverage over there about what's going on in the UK? Obviously, you're sort of in the loop because I'd assume you know people and still in England and so on. But do you get much coverage over there with what's going on? Or
I don't really read the Spanish news or get Spanish newspapers or anything like that. I mainly keep up with what's going on in Spain and around me, sort of from online and Twitter and places like that to get my news from. We are declared a safe zone now, which is nice. Like our area, I don't think there's been too many cases of COVID, which is really good. But in terms of coverage, like I normally just watch news channels from the UK and go on British news outlets and websites to find out what's happening across Europe and how it might affect me as well. And of course, talking to people at home, like my mum, my family, friends, etc., they keep me in the loop of what's going on in the UK as well and what's happening. So I feel like I have enough support, so to speak, around me about what's going on that I'm going to get enough information for what the next steps are.
It's interesting that they're all quite strict there, though. I think that's probably the way that they... I know it sounds a bit daft. That's the way they've got to go, I think. Like, it obviously worked short term anyway there. Like, it seems like the case is shot down there, and the fact that you're sort of in it or were in a safe zone anyway. But the whole story about Spain, like, I think we've briefly spoke about it previously, but if anyone obviously listening either doesn't quite know the story about Spain, why have you moved over there? Why are you living over there at the moment?
So I moved over here November, about a year ago now, just over a year. I moved over here. I was here for a holiday a few weeks before with my friend, and I met my now girlfriend then.
Okay.
And came back and spent a few weeks here with her. Went back to the UK, sort of thought things through, and then decided, basically, like, why not take a chance and come over here and see how things play out. And I sort of thought 3 or 4 months ahead to Christmas. and then 3 or 4 more months ahead to like March, April, and then obviously the pandemic hit. So it's been a bit more difficult the past few months, but sort of been planning it in small stages to like make it work and keep it sustainable. Also, where I wasn't employed sort of full time in the UK, I was sort of in between jobs. I didn't really have a commitment there, like in line of work to really stay for. And there was a job here waiting for me if I was to come here. So I thought, why not? Like it's literally worth a gamble, worth a chance. And I figured I would regret it if I didn't do this in the future, and I'd always be thinking, oh, what if I did go to Spain for however long it could potentially turn out to be, or it's been. I think I would have regretted it if I didn't do it.
So did you have many commitments in the UK then? Like obviously I'd assume you were working over there, or like did you have your own place, or what were your commitments like back in the UK?
So commitments in the UK, nothing really, just family and friends really were the only real commitments. Like my mum, I live with my mum, my stepdad and my nan. And the dog, obviously, he's a huge commitment. But family were the only real commitment to stay for. Obviously, friends, if you guys are listening. But where I wasn't tied down to, like I said, a specific job, it did make it easier to try something else in a different country. And the thing is as well, I find with the family, they have each other. Like they're all retired. They've got, like I said, my mum, my stepdad and my nan and the dog. So they've got each other to lean on. Whereas I figured... Obviously, I think I'll be missed. I hope I'll be missed. But it's not like I'm leaving one of them on their own, which again made the decision slightly easier to come here.
So you say you've met someone over there. Is Spanish girl or is she British?
No, she's Russian.
Oh, wow, okay.
She's lived here though for
Tell her to
10
slow
years.
down.
So she lived in Spain for 10, 11 years. She lived in Newcastle for a couple of years for uni. But no, she speaks fluent Russian, Spanish and English. So she's... really, really good with languages. So as I said, we met last year, came over for a holiday with a friend, met her, and then decided to just come here and see how it works out. And it's we haven't killed each other yet, so it's been going well so far.
Yeah. So it's teaching you do, isn't it? So are you like an English teacher then?
So yes, I was teaching English up until a couple of months ago. Obviously, when the pandemic hit, we had to close the academy, and kids here they don't go to school for June, July, and August. I don't know if it's the entirety of Spain, but around here anyway. So June, July, August, I obviously didn't go back there. So that was quite tough, obviously during the pandemic as well. And parents were reluctant to send their kids back into the academy if they weren't in schools. So we sort of had to wait until September came round and schools started again. But even now, there's not as many children there. So it's literally just the person that runs the place and one other teacher who's like fluent in both Spanish and English that are there. And I don't think there's any more. So at the moment, it's annoying because I haven't been able to go back there. But I have been working with my other half's dad on a construction site, which it's something. Like jobs over here have been so difficult to come by. So I'm just glad I've got something that I can earn money from. Like I said, businesses have been really suffering and like closing. They haven't been able to survive. For example, there's an Iceland here. And they advertised a job a couple of months ago on their Facebook page, and I think it was like one Friday morning, and they received over 200 applicants in that morning. So they took the job advertisement off their page that afternoon because otherwise they were going to have thousands of job applications to go through. So yeah, it's really tough. Places aren't employing, businesses are closing down. So it's I don't think people realize how tough it is over here. At certain times they think, it's Spain, it's a more luxurious or easier way of life, but during this sort of the pandemic it has been really hard for people.
How did you cope with when the lockdowns announced? Obviously first in Spain, how did you cope with that, like personally?
So when lockdown was announced, I didn't really plan for it because I didn't know what it was going to be like. Over in Spain it was a little bit different, as I said earlier. Like it was really imposed with strict measures. We went to the supermarkets and tried to get as much shopping as possible, but the shelves were already empty when we got there. So we struggled there a little bit, but we just got as much as we could. But I was thinking going into lockdown, like, what could I do? How could I be productive? It gave me a lot more time to watch some Netflix series, which was quite cool. I launched the whole SweetLeftFoot platform, which has been great and has helped me through the pandemic a lot, sort of having a whole new community to engage with and talk to. It's been a massive help and something that I wanted to do for a long time. And then this was sort of the time got given to me to actually do that, which was really cool. But I didn't know how long to really expect the lockdown for or what to expect. So I sort of just tried to remain as patient and as calm as possible, try and stick to like a schedule, like a sleeping pattern and exercise. The only thing with exercise at home though is because it's right there, like on your doorstep, I always said like, oh, I can do that tomorrow. I can do that tomorrow. I can do that tomorrow. And it just goes on and on and on until it just doesn't get done, unfortunately. When lockdown was lifted though, we had obviously English tourists come out to Spain for holidays and breaks and things like that. And I was reading reports across Spain where some people from England weren't like abiding by the Spanish laws and wearing a mask in a supermarket. And for me, that's like the simplest thing, just to wear a mask and respect, you know, what you're being asked of. And I just thought, if they're not wearing a mask, they're going to ruin it for other people that potentially want to come out here or go elsewhere in Europe or the world. Because if people look at sort of British people that are going to disobey like that and not wear masks, it's, for me, it was a bit annoying being like British and living here, because I feel like it gave me a bad name, if that makes sense.
I was going to say, because especially with the first one, there was quite a lot of bad press over here about it. Obviously, being that we're typical English and we love our Benidorm trips, etc., etc. But it just, I remember like seeing like when it was lockdown and there was just all the English out on the streets and the police were kind of, I wouldn't say they're using violence. Allegedly, they were using some sort of tactics, but it was pretty damn scary, like, you know, especially in a foreign country. But still had our tops off, still had our cans of cider in our hands, and away we go.
So my girlfriend works in like the plaza here, which is sort of like a big square of restaurants and bars, which is really cool. They normally have live music every Thursday. Obviously, it's been completely different this summer because like restaurants haven't been open. They haven't been able to have live music until the last date where live music was scheduled. They managed to get the band there and it was given the okay and the all clear and everything. And I think the live music was going to be on from like 7:30 till 11:30 or midnight or something like that. And the plaza was packed, like for the first time over the summer. The plaza was full of people. The restaurants, the ones that were open, and the bars were full of people. So it was really nice. People were there just trying to enjoy themselves and have a good time. They were still sticking to like the rules that were in place, like the mask and respecting people's distances and not having more than 6 people on a table, etc. But there were some people that they have apartments there that overlook the plaza, so I'm sure it was one of these people, but they called up the police and the Guardia Civil to get the music shut down early and shut off. And I just thought, like, I didn't understand, like, because everyone is abiding by the rules. They have security there anyway who could report it, and they still shut the whole thing down. So yeah, it's been really tough to find sort of entertainment here as well.
So during lockdown one, it seemed you coped fairly well. Did you have anything in mind, like when it was first announced? Did you think, right, I'm going to do this, and this during it? Because obviously you streamed a fair bit of Football Manager and stuff like that, and really got involved in that. But like was there anything else that you sort of went out your way to do, or were you just sort of chilling out?
Not really. I mean, initially it was just sort of a chilled out, because I don't think anyone really knew what to expect.
Yeah.
So initially it was sort of okay, let's just see what happens. And as much as it was a lockdown, I didn't think it got a bit annoying, because what I'd do for like hobbies and to relax became sort of the daily norm. Mm-hmm. And then I'd get to the point where I'm like, all right, well, I normally do this to sort of entertain myself, and now it's what I've been doing all day. So what do I do? And it did start to get a bit tedious and a bit boring after a while, but nothing really. I mean, I set up the whole SweetLeftFoot platform, which was pretty cool. Wanted to watch a few more series. That was something that was on my list, because I felt like I paid for a Netflix subscription and never watched it.
Ooh, Netflix Spain. Is it, Netflix Spain, and is any better, or have you got it on a VPN back to England?
I haven't got it on a VPN, I don't think. I've just got it still loaded on the PlayStation. So would that still be the same?
I think it's region lock, right? So, would it really? Okay.
Probably.
It comes out. I do get some sort of regional suggestions or top 10 in Spain, but it's quite similar. I haven't seen too many differences between that and the UK one.
Intriguing.
But no, nothing really that sort of stood out. I did want to try and get a little bit fitter and do some home workouts and things, but that just sort of, you miss a day and it's like, oh, I can do this tomorrow. I can do this, and then it just carries on and snowballs.
Yeah.
No, not at all. No, other than that, not a massive amount really. Just general house bits, but then I can't do too much because it's my parents' place, so I didn't want to change much. Just make sure I haven't burnt the place down.
Yeah. In term, obviously you spoke about it earlier on. In terms of family back in the UK, obviously you've not really been able to see them. Was it last year the last time you saw them? Was it, or have you been back this year?
So I was back the first few days of March for about 6 days. Yeah, it was lovely. Before that it was Christmas, which was fine. But yeah, Christmas. So I've been back twice since I've been here, which wasn't the plan. Like the plan was to at least go back every 2 to 3 months because the flights are quite cheap.
Yeah.
I think you get like €30 return flights, which is great.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, so if anyone wants to come over, a couple of spare bedrooms, feel free.
You'll sort the tickets out. €50 return, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
But how have you been like coping without them? And obviously family in the UK, have you been FaceTiming or Skyping or whatever? Like, how have you been coping with that?
So it's a bit awkward. I think you guys will understand what I'm about to say. So I love speaking to my family, but at the same time, where it's been really difficult the last 6 months, I haven't wanted to sort of video them or FaceTime them because it makes me miss them even more when I hang up. Like I had a couple of friends come over a couple of weeks ago, and they were only here for 2 days, and I was looking forward to it, but at the same time I thought, damn, when they go, I'm going to be on like a real come down from like people that I'm used to. So I mean, I speak to my dad not as much as my mum. But I'm in contact with my mum and my stepdad and my nan quite a lot, probably daily. It's got to now because we generally haven't seen each other in 7 months, which is horrible. My dog as well. I miss my dog a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
That's one of the worst ones, I think, because you can't explain to them what's going on or where you are. So, but yeah, we talk as much as possible, even if it's just the same sort of hi, how are you doing? What's the plan today? But yeah, it's tough just not having them sort of downstairs or around the corner or anything.
Do you not find that when you're further away that you actually speak to them more? Like, I know you said you don't want to FaceTime them, but like when I this is a bit of a massive difference, but I moved an hour up the road from my old house, and actually I didn't see my mum and dad as much, but I spoke to my mum a lot more. Yeah. Because it was the fact of, well, we're not seeing each other, so let's call and chat. Do you find you do that more, or are you speaking to them more, or is it kind of very similar to if you were at home?
I think it feels a lot more where I'm not seeing them. Like I will text them daily, and then a conversation will come from there, even if we just ring each other up to tell each other what we've done, like that day or what the plan is. Yeah, now you say it, I feel like I talk to them just generally a little bit more. Whereas at home, I think I took it for granted now.
Yeah, exactly that. It's on the doorstep.
One of those things like the home workouts, I can do it. It's always there, so I can push it back.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, in that sense, yeah, I do speak to them more. You're right there.
And sort of, obviously, this has been mainly about like the mental health side of things, doing the daily podcast just to keep everyone's minds ticking and so on. Have you ever sort of felt the need, or would you ever sort of reach out to people, obviously, if you struggle mentally?
Yeah, I would. There's been times over the past couple of months especially, it's really started to hit me a lot harder, where I've tried to, I wouldn't say tried to find people, but because if I speak to my mates, I expect a slightly biased take on things where they probably like me to come home if they are my friends. Yeah. But like editor Joe of the Showdown and Jeter, I've got quite close with those two guys since starting streaming and things, and I'm able to speak to them. I feel about like if I wanted to run a problem through them, they're a bit more neutral where they haven't known me as long, which is good. I haven't ever really thought about like speaking to someone professionally about it. I'm not sure how I would, in the sense like how I'd go about it. I find sort of friends a bit easier to confide in. But I think it's because I haven't been through that process. So if
Yeah.
I'd sort of done it before, maybe it would come a bit easier to me. But it's difficult to speak to like family about it, because again, it's a biased view, and I don't want to sort of feel like I'm a burden to them. And it's because my mum's like full of emotion. I mean, she'll if I say like I'm having a bit of a rough day, she'll ask why like 3, 4, 5 times in a nice way. It's caring and it's sincere, but I don't want to then worry her more, if that makes sense.
In the minute you say to your mum, I think I'm missing home, she goes, well, I'll come home then.
Yeah, that's it.
Fresh sheets, you're fine, you're allowed.
Do you know what? You say that, dude. She still does clean what is my room there, even though I'm not.
Right.
I haven't been there for a year, and she'll go around with the Hoover and the duster and do everything. And she'll tell me, like, message me, just cleaned your room. All right, great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's amazing. So that's what love is. Because
that.
I moved when I was just about to turn 18. Me and my wife, well, she wasn't my wife then, but we got a little apartment, and I think it must have been about 3 days after I moved. I thought, I'll just nip back. I left a couple of like winter coats in my wardrobe. So I went upstairs, and kind of as I opened the door, I put in pink fucking like paint on the wall. I'm like, what's going on here? They're like, oh well, you know, your brother's little girl. She's gonna want to stay every now and then. So we're just redecorating your room to her room. We're like, no, this is my room. I had a proper hissy fit, and literally it lasted 3 days of it being like a little shrine to me. And now it's my niece's room. She literally lives there now. So
I couldn't wait to get that changed.
Yeah, I'd love to know what love feels like, to be honest, man.
That's funny.
One thing I will say about speaking out and opening up, and I have to agree, like talking to maybe like your mates, but I think especially being in this platform and in the community, I felt that I've had some issues in the last year that I've spoken to mainly probably Dave and Joe and I spoke to Curtie and Teach and all this, that people that I've met here that I don't know from for a long time. I mean, I've known them for a while, but they don't go back to like links to my family, etc., etc. That I've been able to be more open and honest with these lot than I have been if I was in a platform with my parents or with my mates at home. That I don't know whether I feel like I can be more honest with these people than I can like my best mate that I'll go and get pissed up with, and he might take the piss in the wrong way. Or so, I don't know. I just feel that I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing for these boys to say that I know they've got my back, if you know what I mean.
No, I completely agree. They're having people sort of, I don't know what it is, but I think everyone in the community will have someone within the community that they feel really comfortable in opening up to or talking to, as opposed to someone like you said that they've maybe known from school and things. I think potentially you just get a different reaction and a different take from them, which you sort of, they're not going to tell you what you want to hear, which a friend might, because they're looking out for you, or they have a certain way of expressing themselves, where as like, for example, you speaking to Dave, Joe, they're probably going to just tell you what they think as an honest opinion, as opposed to, what would he like me to say, and let me just sort of
they don't hold fucking back, trust me.
No, I bet not.
That's what you want though, right?
Yeah, that is
in my opinion. Like I said, I'm going to be open and honest about it with you lot, and say that for me, I've been very lucky and never really struggled with any mental health issues until I went through a stage with the birth of my youngest. And honest to God, like I came back from the day, and it was the day that he was born, and I was in the podcast that night, and the best thing that these boys did was kind of went, oh, how's everything? Yeah, it's good, and just left it, and we were normal. And for me, laughing, joking, having a crack, it just takes me away from it, and that massively helped me and supported me getting through what I was going through, was them just being normal and being themselves with me, and that's something that I don't think money can buy.
No, I completely agree.
On the flip side of that though, you did open up about it, because you do use humour as a kind of deflection,
a little bit, just a little bit.
Like when you've got shit going on, you'll just laugh and joke and feel an awkward silence.
Yeah.
But you actually did speak about it because, like you just said, it did mess you up a little bit, and you hadn't experienced that before. So, talking about it, even though we knew just to be normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just gets it off your chest.
And if people know, they can check in on you just to make sure.
Yeah. It's amazing when, how'd you put it? Like, I would say that on the surface, some of us might look, I don't want to say hard bastards, but like people that may not show emotion all the time, etc., etc. But it's amazing when you get in a call with some people and you think, I'm not sure how this is going to go, and they just spin it on their head, or yeah, I've been through something very similar, or this is how, you know. It's amazing that what people can do, and how kind and nice people can actually be when they want to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you peel the layers back from people, you know, give people a chance rather than assume things, and they surprise you.
After all this, mate, I feel a little bit guilty about playing Among Us with you now. I'm not going to lie. I just want to say, like, you know, it's all jokes, it's all laughs. Like, I'm really sorry that I've just constantly gone, I don't want to be that guy, but I think he vented.
Every time we played that game, and we got back, and I heard you go, I don't want to be that guy. Straight away, I thought, oh God, here we go again. I'm going to have to defend myself from doing nothing.
So I'd just like to take this platform to apologise. However, if we play again, I'm doing exactly the same.
Yeah.
Be normal, like I said, yeah?
It's funny, the Among Us, like, whenever you play, there's almost always an apology at the end, because someone's accused you or lied their way through it or whatever, so, yeah, really funny.
I think I remember one of the first times I did it, I think it was to you, and I was like, I mean, I had no idea, but I don't want to be that guy, but I swear I saw SweetLeftFoot vent. Well, that's good enough for me. And you're like, no, it wasn't me. And then you went, and I'm thinking, did I? And then I was imposter the next round. I'm like, I'm not killing Mike. I'm not killing him. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. So, yeah, you know, you win some, you lose some, eh?
I think with that, people get on revenge missions as well.
Yes,
like we were playing the other day, and for no reason at all, Ben said that he saw me kill someone on cams, and there was about 3 seconds to go on the vote countdown, and the amount of votes that just piled in for me because he quickly said that. And the next round I was imposter, and I thought, right, I'm going straight up for Ben. Yeah.
First kill. Hates it. I said it. I said it to him the other day in a game. I was like, I can't play with you anymore, Ben. You just got too much swing in these lobbies. When he's on, we'll bring it up with him, all right? And we'll tell him. We'll have a go at him for that.
We'll band together and make a pact. Every time one of us is imposter, Ben first. Yeah. Get him gone, and then he can't have that
because he hasn't got the influence on anything.
Yeah.
It's a good strategy play. Anyway, the Among Us podcast is next week. Weekly Among Us podcast.
Well,
but that's been a nice break though, playing something different. And with people in the community, it's been really sort of, everyone's got involved as well. So many people have got involved.
Exactly that. And I mean, I've spoke to you before via DM. I think quite early in your cycle, we had a bit of a chat where you reached out to me and we were chatting, and I didn't. That was it. It kind of, after that, I haven't spoke to you. Then we kind of did the streamer showdown, and then Among Us. And now I feel like if I saw you online, I could just go, yeah, just give him a shout, give him a chat. And I feel as much as that's one massive thing that's come out of the lockdown is by the fact that with the lockdown, the streamer showdown happened, and with the streamer showdown, us splitting off and playing Among Us and other games, we've got to know the community, and I've got a lot more people now that I would think that I could speak to and chat to because we spoke to more people. You know, and I think it's really good. I think that's been massive this year.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree.
Are you? We'll move on to our sort of fun questions now, Mike. Are you a big book reader? Do you like reading books? Have you got any books you'd recommend, or is that?
I'll be honest. I've seen a few of the recent podcasts, and I've seen the book question. I thought, crap, I don't really read books. What am I going to say? So I generally can't remember the last time I read a book, which is really bad because I would like to read more books, but I don't know what it is, what sort of pulls me away from it. I've bought books from the UK and brought them over here, and I just haven't read them. Like football books, like a tactics book, like the history and evolution of like tactics or football tactics. Just sat in the cupboard for like a year, haven't touched it. I would like to. I mean, I'd love to read some more autobiographies of people that I think not have had a big influence on my life, but I've seen quite a lot growing, like Arsene Wenger, for example. He's sort of all I ever knew at Arsenal, so reading his book would be quite cool. I watch a lot of stand-up comedy as well, so I know some stand-up comedians have got autobiographies and books out, which I think would be a nice insight to their lives as well. But I'm not a massive book reader, but I would like to read more.
I think audiobooks could be the way to go, because they're sort of like a podcast. You could still play FM or still do your editing or whatever, like whilst listening to them. I think like when Joe was saying, like books I've never been a big fan of, but audiobooks I can sort of warm to, because I whilst I'm editing, whilst I'm playing FM, doing whatever, like you can still have them on in the background. Whereas a proper book, you almost like got to be invested in that, haven't you? So
yeah, that's it. I whenever I'm doing stuff, I normally like to have some sort of background noise, whether it's the telly on or a podcast or music. So yeah, I think that would probably be the best bet.
Go on, Joe. Have you got a recommendation for us today? Go on.
No, do you know what? I got a little bit upset because I wasn't allowed to do mine yesterday, Mike. I got bodied. But I will say one thing. I reckon if I moved abroad, I'd be very well read. Whenever I'm abroad, I read loads. Mainly because I'm on holiday, granted, but living abroad's basically on holiday, isn't it? And this week, it's not even today's has nothing to do with sport. Okay, I'm going to be honest. It's a book called The Thursday Murder Club. It's by Richard Osman. I don't know if anyone. Obviously, the guy from Pointless. He's very funny. He does know his sport. He's a big Fulham fan. And he's on the podcast Fight and Talk quite a lot, and he's very good on it. But it is a murder mystery book, but it's all about kind of he uses his comedic charm, and it's very good. I started listening to it on Audible after Joe kind of recommended doing some more of that. So I've listened to about an hour of it, and I'm gripped. I really am, and there's some really good characters in it. So I'd recommend that.
Nice one.
Now, that shocked you, didn't it?
Nice. Yeah. I was going to say, I thought it only come out about a week ago. There's no way you've read that.
No, somebody else has read it for me, mate. Audible.
Joe, you got one for us today?
I got one for you. I put it on Instagram the other day. Done deal.
It's on Instagram. It was
by
on
Daniel
Instagram.
Gray.
Yeah, you tweeted it out this morning with your 5-star pod mug as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I put it on there. I've read it quite a long time ago, but it's really, really good. If you're interested in football finance, I think he's at Football Law on Instagram, and he's always in and out. Obviously, when anything kind of controversial is happening, he does his spin on it. And in the book, it just goes through kind of everything to do with the money side of football, and it's just something that interests me. But it's a very good book with lots of things that you probably wouldn't know about.
Perfect. Mike, Netflix, you were talking about it a little bit earlier. You like your stand-up comedy. Is there anything that you really recommend on Netflix, or something you've watched recently that you've really enjoyed?
I've been going through sort of like binge watching just sitcoms like Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Modern Family.
Wow, we could get on so well. Friends and How I Met Your Mother is my two favourites.
I got another one for you, dude. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
99. So good.
Honestly, mate, I'm gonna jump in really quick. I'll let you have it back. I have 4 episodes of the last series of me to watch, and I don't want to watch it because I don't want the story to end. Yeah. So to me, it's still going on. So go on. Sorry, I'll let you carry on.
Nice. I mean, they're very easy to watch. Sort of, I can have them on in the background whilst I'm doing other bits and bobs as well. Yeah. In terms of series, I watched something called The Society, but they cancelled season 2, which makes season 1 a bit redundant, really.
I hate it when they do that. I used to watch a program called Stalker. Yeah. Me and my wife loved it. It was an American series. They did series 1, and it was absolutely brilliant. And then they just cut it. They just literally fired it.
Was it a how-to Let's Play?
I prefer not to speak.
I've got one as well. It's the David Letterman one on Netflix. My Next Guest Needs No Introduction.
You told me about
this.
Really,
really good. Yeah, it's really, really good. It's kind of like a stripped-back interview. But he has obviously the next guest needs no introduction, so it's like the famous of famous names on there, and it's just you wouldn't want to binge watch them like back to back, but if you just want to, you could just watch one, just to fill some time. He's got some really good guests in there. I mean, I've just watched he done one with Jay-Z, wow. And because I watched that one, I watched the Kanye West one, which then led me to watching the Kim Kardashian one. But he done a Lewis Hamilton one, which was really good as well. So there's some good ones on there. I think he had Dave Chappelle was on there at some point as well. So he's had like really interesting guests, and that's on Netflix at the moment. Really worth a watch.
I'll tell you one thing. Sorry, Dave, but I'll say one thing that I feel that I find myself having to find something to watch when so I went to bed last night and I'm like, I know we've got this pod and I don't watch stuff on Netflix and I don't really watch films and like, but I found myself going through Netflix to put something on to say I could recommend. So I woke up this morning and there was a thing I was watching on Prime. They're all about this fireman in Wales. There's just lots of fires. It's called Fireman Sam. 4-year-old's a big fan. So yeah, I was watching a shitload of that this morning.
I was really invested there. I was like, what is this documentary he's talking about here?
No, I've got nothing to give today, mate. I watched Draft Day last night because, you know.
So I don't have a Netflix account. There's one like hooked up to the PlayStation and stuff. I think it's my brother's or my sister's, and but like whenever I go on Netflix, I think I spend more time searching or looking at programs than actually watching something. So the other day I was like looking, I was like, the floor is lava. Ended up watching that. I was like, why have I just spent like the last 3 hours watching The Floor is Lava? It's like a really shit Takeshi's Castle. Like,
what a show that was, by the way.
How many people's going to go and watch that now?
Mate, it's actually not bad, but you know, it's like really cringy American, like, you know, it's, groups of 3, and all 3 of them have got to get to the other side of a room in a lot of time.
Sounds like you enjoyed it, Dave. It sounds like you enjoyed it.
But basically, below the obstacles is obviously water or some sort of substance with red lights. So meant to be lava, and someone falls in, and like they all pretend as if they've just died in the lava. The first episode, there's a mum. She's like, "No!" It's like she just fell into like a pool of water. So,
she might not be able to swim, Dave. To be fair, but that's class, Dave. That's really cool. That's really good.
Yeah.
I think when you go through Netflix or Prime or anything like that, you need to. I always go, oh yeah, I could watch that, but let's see what else there is. The minute you go, yeah, I could watch that, you've just got to hit play.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just get caught. And I got to the end and the bottom right-hand corner of Netflix by going all the way down and all the way to the right. I'm like, yeah, nothing here for me. Nothing here for me.
There's so much choice.
Yeah.
Like, too much choice. Yeah.
And then it's annoying because you've got Prime, you've got Netflix, you've got Apple TV Plus now. You got the Disney Plus. It's just like, and then you got Sky, and then you got On Demand. Sorry,
BritBox as well as a thing now. Has anyone even signed up to that? Like,
no. Brexit means Brexit, though.
Yeah. Boris is Britain. You said earlier about podcasts, Mike. Are you into many podcasts? Are you a big podcast listener as well?
Yeah, 5-Star Potential is really good.
Oh, there we go.
Tell us more. Tell us more.
I said in Duke's chat the other day, I've been sort of... my friend told me about it years ago.
Oh, wow.
He's like, I listen to this
yes,
FM...
don't make us feel that old.
He's like, I listen to this FM podcast every Monday morning or something.
Sometimes Tuesday.
Yeah. And he was saying it's really good, and he enjoyed it. And I was like, I'll have to give it a listen. And I listened to the odd one here or there, but I wasn't really a big podcast guy, so I never got into it consistently. And then when I got more involved in the community, I think I said to you the other day, I started working my way backwards through some of them. And like when I'm sort of playing FM or just downstairs doing stuff, I just put it on Spotify and listen. And it's just so easy to listen to. It's nice. It's really good. I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. The Joe Rogan obviously is a popular one. I watch a lot of basketball, so basketball podcasts appeal to me. Chris Jericho's podcast is actually really good as well. Yeah. I do listen to.
What's he called
quite a lot. Talk is Jericho.
I mean, I don't know my wrestling very much, but like, I thought he would have. It is that geezer, yeah. We're talking about the same one,
yeah.
He should do the one with like the submission move. I mean, I don't know wrestling that well, but
what was it called again? Walls of Jericho. That was it.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's it.
Those 4 mainly. Well, those 4 sort of categories mainly.
I think the good thing about our podcast is that, like, because Football Manager is not like, obviously there's changes every year, but a lot of it is relatable. Like, we could have spoke about something 100 episodes ago about something in the game, and it's still sort of, you could still play the game the same way and have tips. So
that's Dave's way of recycling content.
Yeah.
Get away with it. Yeah, we could just play it a slightly different way this time. Let's talk about scouting, but slightly different.
Yeah, but and all the banter, I think, on our podcast, you just laugh at it all the time. We could record a podcast, I'd listen to it back on a Monday, and I would be creasing again at some of the stuff that we talk about on there.
Do you know what I find? Like, I don't know why, but when we record the 5-star, and then like it's the Tuesday, the Wednesday, and we're streaming, and somebody will like, oh yeah, something that Dave said, or something you said, or something, and I'm like, I don't remember. Literally, we record the podcast. It's not like I just instantly forget, but I'm just like, there's so many times where I'm just giggling or I'm laughing to myself. Like, it's just, it's great. It's good fun. And then obviously now you've seen the other side of us, just the fact that this is just constant. Even when we're not recording, we're just ripping the piss out of each other.
Yeah. I think... Sorry, Dave, go.
I was just gonna say, even when I was on holiday and I missed one of the pods, I listened to it back and I was just creasing next to the pool. I was, Lib was like, "What are you laughing at?" I was like, "Sorry, like Dupes just said something." And I am crying.
Of course, it's me.
Yeah,
you know, that's a lie. God, now we know.
Yeah.
You never listened.
I was gonna say, obviously, I think a lot of people dropping into your guys' streams as well and things, and getting to know you guys from like the Showdown and just the community in general. I think opens people up a little bit more to when they listen to the podcast, they sort of like they know like your personalities a bit more. So they like some people, you might play it to someone who's never met any of you, and they might think, oh, this isn't funny, or why is that funny, or why did he say that? But because like everyone in the community knows who you guys are. I think everyone sort of can it appeals to a lot more people, which is good.
And talking about the Showdown quickly there, obviously you've been in a few. What's been your favourite season, do you reckon, of the Stream Showdown?
It's really hard to pinpoint one because I watched season 1 to 5. Yeah. And like the progression was just like superb. Like, again, it's been said so many times. I didn't realise how much work goes into it until I was actually involved in the Discord channel and I was blown away by it. It is like generally incredible for a group of guys just to come together and everyone contributes. It's so good. I don't want to give a real blasé answer, but season 6, 7 and 8 were good for me for different reasons. Season 6 was the first one I was on the lowdown for the Saturday and Sunday. Season 7 was my first full lowdown appearance. Like I think I did the Thursday, the Saturday and the Sunday. And season 8 obviously I played in, which was probably if I had to pick one, it would be that one, because that was sort of like a real like, wow, like this is so cool. People I've watched for some years, some months, that I'm actually now sort of playing in the Showdown with. It was so much fun, and I nearly won it as well.
You came very close, you were unlucky.
Yeah, I was gutted with that, but again, I said it at the time. No one. I'm going to get tired of saying this after a while. I've seen him on the social pod as well. Matt was. I mean, it's so nice to see Matt finally win one.
Yeah.
I think he deserved it. But
the thing is, right, and this is what people don't know about Matt. When the camera's not rolling and nothing's recording, he's an arsehole.
Oh, he's
I'm literally joking. He's the nicest guy ever. But yeah, no.
Matt was sorry to just go off topic quickly, circle back to something you said earlier, Dupe. I reached out to a few guys in the community when I was starting, and Matt was one that I did reach out to, and he was like, no offense to anyone else that I reached out to, but he was so responsive.
Wow, he's saying that shit over.
He was.
To be fair, he just struggled to read what you replied.
It was in Spanish, to be fair.
But no, Matt was so responsive in the sense that I thought was a bit surprised that people that are so busy had the time to, because I was asking some really stupid questions, like really like bottom of the barrel dumb questions, and he was a massive help. Like I think if it wasn't for Matt, I would have really struggled with a lot of things.
To be fair, he is just gone full time. He's got nothing else to do. Well,
I think as well, you do find a lot of people contact different people a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody is bothered about. There's no such thing as a stupid question as long as you ask it once.
Yeah.
You do get people that just ask you the same thing over and over, and you're like, if you haven't listened the first time, you don't deserve to have a reply the second time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
the amount of times it's
I've found, and I've heard lots of different people say that, oh, everyone's really helpful, really, you know, in a community, everybody is.
Yeah.
But there'll be some people that are busy, and it's like they haven't got the time to keep, take their advice and reread it if you need to. Don't just keep asking the same question. You know, the amount of times you get asked to show your first 11, best 11 history on Stream Dupe,
Yeah.
That's why people don't like him.
I was just having a look at like a Twitter request just in case I'd missed anyone, because I think a lot of the time people ask me questions about streaming or FM.
He's just gutted that you didn't reach out to him. That's all he's gutted about.
I'm just looking, but all my requests are just people asking me to retweet something for them. and that's why I do not respond to them. So
to be fair, open and honestly, I will do my utmost to help anybody, but it's the amount of times you get a request. It's like, do you mind just what's your thoughts on this? Would this PC run FIFA Football Manager?
Yeah,
it probably would. 2 months later, so I'm thinking about buying a PC.
Yeah,
hang on, we just had that conversation too.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, but and then somebody becomes a bit aggressive with you, and like, hang on, I'm trying to help here, just people.
I asked one of the questions I asked Deep when I brought out my first series on YouTube. I was like, do you mind if could you check it out? Could you let me know?
Was I nice?
You were nice, but there was one awkward moment where you replied back and said, "What would you like me to say?" with a question mark, and I was like, and I was sitting there reading it like, all right, I don't really know what to reply to this. And then I let sort of 15 minutes pass, and then you got back to me. It's like, honestly, I've watched an episode or two. It was pretty good. I was like, okay,
cool. I've just got the DM up. So hang on, let me clear myself here. I said to you, hey man, I watched your whole series, right?
Okay,
and
yeah.
This was your England series, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I remember. And you're like, so any advice, any feedback? And I was like, where do I start, right? That's what I put. And then
there was a gap.
Granted, I left it quite a while. Before I replied, but I wrote 5 words after that, and that took a long time for me to write. Grammarly was obviously not working that day.
When I got back there, where do I start? I was like, oh god, fuck. Oh no, oh shit.
Yeah, okay. I had to go double check that then, because that was me in the mud,
in the gravy.
I'm not sponsored by them anymore.
Doopy's a twat, but he will help everybody out.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and he's horrible to play Among Us with as well when he's pinning the blame on you.
Oh yeah, horrible to play, but yet you still use my playbook. That's
the playbook was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
No, Among Us is definitely overdue anyway. But on that
got to get Joe on it. Imagine how good Joe would be.
Joe would be very
on Among Us.
Yeah. I don't play other computer games.
I didn't.
You play Minecraft.
Oh yes, good point.
Brilliant. Well, Mike, it's been an absolute pleasure in having you on, man. If people want to find you, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, what's the best place to find you?
Spain.
Yeah, Alicante, Spain. Twitter is SweetLeftFoot FM, because I think a few other boys have had this problem. The guy that's using the SweetLeftFoot name, he hasn't been active for like 7 years.
Let's not talk about that, because...
Yeah. We did have a conversation about that, yeah.
I'll deactivate it now, mate, sorry.
SweetLeftFoot FM on Twitter and SweetLeftFoot on Twitch and YouTube.
Perfect, man. Well, yeah, as I say, it's been a pleasure in having you on. As always, folks, if you've enjoyed today's podcast, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the WeStream FM channel. If you've got any questions or any feedback for future episodes, let us know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are struggling and you want to reach out, the email for WeStream FM is in the description, or websites for the professionals in there as well. But until next time, look after yourselves and see you all soon. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Adios.